All right, welcome to the Kane and Day Show. We are here to give you our sports takes, analysis, all the good things happening in the big three: football, baseball, and basketball. I'm your host, Kane. You can find me at twitch.tv Killing Kane, on Twitter at Killing Kane, and at YouTube at Killing Kane. So I'm going to kick it over to my co-host here, Day. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, my name's Day. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealDayGaming. Twitter is RealDayGaming1, and YouTube is RealDayGaming.
Perfect. All right, so what's the first topic we're going to kind of crack open today?
I think we need to start with baseball being back.
Fair enough. Baseball's back, everybody. Let's fucking go.
Exciting.
Let's go. All right,
After
so
what, 100 days?
100 and some. I know that.
A long time.
Too long.
Yeah.
So, we going to talk about free agent signings first, or do we want to talk about the people still on the market?
I think we should go and recap what was done before the lockout.
Okay. So
Just to get a little refresher of who... Because some of those were back in November. That was 6 months ago. Not literally, but...
yeah, that is true. So, let's do our recap then. So, first off, we have the big two to kind of kick off free agency. You have Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. Both going.
You know, I forgot he was even a free agent until the other day when you said it.
I mean, he only went to the Blue Jays for a 1-year deal, just to kind of like.
Which was huge.
Oh, it was huge for his career. He had one of the best seasons of a second baseman, probably ever. And you're looking at it because he was always decent in Oakland, right? Always mid-tier guy. And then he said, "Hey, fuck this! I want out." And he went to the Blue Jays and put up a record-breaking season to get him the bag in free agency. So both him and Corey probably on the phone saying, "Hey man, you want to team up? Let's take our talents to fucking Texas." Of all teams that they could have gone to, especially when Semien was getting heavy interest by the Seattle Mariners. He was one of the top teams that was circling with his name around it. Same with Corey. They both were being looked at by the Mariners, but Texas had the cap to go and get them both, which kind of shook the sports world. And especially, we'll talk about this guy later, Clayton Kershaw. Everybody thought Kershaw was also going to Texas because that's his home state? Hometown. Wanted to go play with them.
From Dallas.
Yeah. So it's fucking wild that's how free agency kicked off, especially when you had names like Chris Bryant, Trevor Story, Carlos Correa sitting in those mixes. So it's crazy. They got their two guys in the middle, and Texas is making some moves that could be scary. They've got a good, I wouldn't say good, a decent pitching farm. They've
Still have Josh Jung there at third base too in the minors.
Oh, dude's a stud. What's Leiter?
Oh, that
Jack Leiter. They've got him down in the minors, who, just like his dad, pretty dominant and really scary.
He's right-handed, not left-handed. But...
Still, he's scary, man. He's scary. We got our next person we're gonna talk about. We've got Javi Baez going to Detroit for...
I still think that was the wrong move for Detroit, but that's just my personal opinion.
I think they're just throwing... I just think they're throwing money around, and it's like, Javi, you're 20... You're 29. We're going to just say 29. You're going to a Detroit team that's not been great.
No, they have not.
And I don't think a high strikeout guy is the move. He literally strikes out.
Pitcher's Park either.
Exactly. And you got, deep center field, 420?
420.
And it's just
it's got to be at least 3 or 4:30 to get left center.
Exactly, and it did not make any sense. But hey, he clocked in at 6 years, 140 million. I mean, let's go back to Texas real quick. Let's go back to the Texas deals. I mean, you've got Corey Seager clocking in at 10 years, 325 million.
Yeah, but Corey Seager's way better.
Yeah, he's 27. He's 27 and a half.
Yeah.
Has also had a long history of being hurt.
That's the one problem with Corey Seager. That's it.
That's why I was
obviously it's a big
shocked.
One,
I was shocked he got a 10-year deal out of it. I was really shocked. And then you got Marcus Semien clocking in at 7 years, $175 million, which honestly, for a dude who's 31, that's a phenomenal deal. That you just secured the bag for the rest of your life.
I mean, you had last year, one of the craziest years for a second baseman, and then obviously the Mickey Mouse year in 20, and then so stats are hard to compare with, but looking at his stats from 19, he was third in the MVP race.
I mean, he's always been right there. And
because I mean, like, he went off in where'd it go? 19. He had 33 home runs, 92 RBIs, and that's the year he came in third.
Mm-hmm.
Who came in first that year? Oh, Trout. Sorry.
I mean, any year Mike Trout's healthy, let's be honest, he's the clear shot at being MVP.
Every year,
greatest,
every single year.
He is, well, for me, the best baseball player I've ever seen, watched.
Yeah, he's our.
It's Griffey. It's Griffey.
He is the best of the modern time.
Exactly.
He's got it.
And
as long
Trout,
as he stays healthy.
If Trout can stay healthy, he's gonna catch Griffey, and he will be the unanimous best baseball player of all time.
Can't.
Like, it's.
I've gone through that top 100 list. You can't. It's just the times are so different.
It is. But Mike Trout is phenomenal. He's always going to be that guy.
Yeah.
So Javi going to Detroit doesn't make any sense. But hey, they could have offered him the most. I mean, he's, like I said, he's slotting in at 6 years, 140 million. He's going to be 34 when the deal's done. And as in baseball terms, like when you're a pitcher, being in your 30s, it depends. It depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's take a look at another free agent that's still on the board right now. Nelson Cruz going 41, 42 right now, around
somewhere
there.
On that, yeah.
And dude is still putting up numbers. He's
even playing in my Trop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. And so now we're going to go to the next guy. The next guy who's probably the second best pitcher in baseball. And that's Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer slotting in at 3 years, $130 million at 37.
I didn't realize he was that old, but I guess...
Oh, yeah, dude.
I don't know. It's because I just let the time slide when he was here in Detroit, and...
Well, he started in Detroit, and then he went to the Nationals.
He started in Arizona, actually.
Did he? Okay, so he started in Arizona. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did start in Arizona because every good pitcher starts in Arizona and leaves. That's pretty much how it goes now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Arizona boy, we'll talk about him next. But Max Scherzer, super dominant, always in that slot. And now you're pairing him with Jacob fucking DeGrom.
DeGrom has to stay healthy.
Yeah, of course, but Jacob DeGrom, best pitcher in MLB.
Best 1-2 punch in the league.
Oh, hands down.
It's not close.
It's not. The Mets are going to be good. Like,
find me a different rotation that can stack up to that in a
that's
three-game set.
That's true. But you have DeGrom going game 1. You got Scherzer going game 2. And especially with what Scherzer did when he got traded to the Dodgers this last year.
Oh, that was like prime Cy Young when he almost had that perfect game, but hit the batter or walked him, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that Scherzer, that year, he was nuts.
Max
Scherzer.
He
had like 18 strikeouts in a different game that year.
I'm pretty sure he did. Max Scherzer is fucking insane, and the Mets stole him from everybody. I thought LA was gonna make a big push to bring him back because they've got that core, but losing Corey Seager like that, I think it's very hard because you're waiting on Gavin Lux to be good. You're probably gonna slot him in at shortstop if they don't have anybody else. And he's not been that guy that he's been predicted to be.
Gavin will probably go back to second, and Trey will go back to short.
Oh, that's right. They do have Trey Turner.
And that's why they went out and got Trey Turner at the deadline, because they knew Corey was going to leave. So they're like, well, let's go and get a...
Hey, you know what? I'm not even mad about it. I mean, I'm a little salty about it as a Mariners fan because I wanted my boy on the team. But, we all can't be happy. Trey Turner is going to do great things for LA. But Max Scherzer going to New York, it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so
that money's huge.
Exactly. Our next guy, though. Coming from Toronto, reigning Cy Young, Robbie Ray. I don't know how I feel about it yet. The one thing I do know is Robbie Ray has a big strikeout percentage. He hasn't been very consistent, but he strikes dudes out. He's very decent at that. And especially, I feel like this was a make it or break it year for him going to Toronto. And, did they get him I think they got him in a trade last year or the year before. Signed him to a 1 year. And then,
20.
Yeah, he got traded, got signed to a 1 year.
From Arizona, yeah.
Yep. And then, had the Cy Young year.
And he's an all-star in 17.
And the Mariners, I mean, getting him on a friendly deal at 30 years old, he's got a 5-year deal for $115 million. He's only getting paid $23 a year. Not bad. But he needs to show me more.
Last year he led the league in strikeouts with 248.
Yeah, he needs to show me more. He's coming to a pitcher's park in Seattle. I mean, look at all the years King Felix did it and did it well. And I have high hopes for him. But, you're looking at a Mariners rotation. You just lost out on Kikuchi, which is fine. You would have had to pay him a lot of money. And it wasn't worth it for the amount of wins, losses he had, how many walks he had. And, Kikuchi was an all-star, but, we only got one this year, and it was Kikuchi because he had a phenomenal first half, and then after the all-star break, he kind of slid downhill, and so I see why the Mariners let him go. So, right now, you're looking at a 1, 2, 3, in my eyes. Well, you have 4 dudes that are decent. So you have Robbie Ray. He's your for sure ace, and that's what Seattle needed. Seattle needed a for sure dude to come out every 5th day and dominate. And
what scares me by looking at his ERA though,
it's bad.
So last year, obviously we won the Cy Young with a 2.84, right?
Yeah.
When he was an all-star in 17, he had a 2.89. The rest of them are all 4 or higher. And that's what's scary because
we need the 2.8 ERA to be a for sure ace, and that's what we're paying him to be. And then you have Marco slotting in at your number 2 guy, probably one of the best number 2 pitchers like that. Like, if you're not considering an ace, I've always considered Marco to be a number 2. He's never been an ace, but he's been our ace. And he's done really well. He had a slow start last year, but in the Mickey Mouse year, he was absolutely dominant, and it was scary. Marco Gonzalez is the real fucking deal. And you're looking at number 3. You have Logan Gilbert, who had a phenomenal rookie year. And if he would have started with the Mariners from opening day, he would have been rookie of the year in the AL. I believe it. He was lights out, dominant. The bats couldn't produce enough for him to win most of his games, but he just showed the shit, and he was great. And then who's your fourth guy? It was the dude who played in Korea. What's his name? Trying to think.
I have no clue.
It doesn't matter, but they've got a decent rotation, especially Mariners have Emerson Hancock and George Kirby sitting in the wings down in AAA. We'll see who gets called up this year for the big push, especially. I mean, we're looking at new rules this year too. You have a 12-team
Depending on
playoff.
how they switch the service time too, you might see them get called up sooner.
Exactly.
I mean, information's been trickling out ever since the deal's been signed, but once it's out and all the information is out, we'll be able to go and see how that changed, because you'll see it'll be across the board with teams being able to call up players sooner when, even though they're ready. Last year they wouldn't. Like, right. we might see Torkelson get called up this year.
There's a lot of ifs, a lot of buts, but the season is starting on the 18th, spring training. At least that's when the Mariners start.
Next week.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a fun season. I'm so happy that they fucking salvaged it. Both the owners and the players both pulled their heads out and was like, hey, we want to play. You want us to play. Let's fucking get a deal done. Let's make it friendly for everybody and better for everybody. And from the looks of it, they did that. So,
and like I've been telling you for like 2 weeks now, it's not as easy to come to an agreement when it's an entire 500-page document.
True.
Like, that is a lot. You have to go over each and every little part of that CBA. That's why it took so long, and they started so far apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like back in the last CBA where they're like, bam, done.
Right.
We're just going to change a couple things here and there. This one, they were just so far apart. Obviously, we had, the whole COVID throughout the process, in between this CBA. But, like, it's a hard process to go through. So
it really is. But again, I'm glad they came to an agreement. We've got baseball back. We're in for a fucking good year. We're in for a great year.
I hope with these the changes and making sure that they got the whole 162.
Mm-hmm.
The likes of Tatis and Soto can just be, and Vlad Jr. Just try and bring excitement.
Yeah.
Of this like new age of people our age.
Which is what the sport needs. And that's why I'm fucking stoked that they brought Universal DH. Get pitchers out of the fucking batter box. We don't need it. You're giving.
I always like that video of Tyler Glasnow in Miami. Stood there like this.
Yeah.
And he almost got walked. I don't know what. I forgot who was pitching. I think it was Sandy Alcantara. Bro, Tyler had no intention of swinging.
Exactly.
There was two outs, nobody on. He had no intention of swinging.
Yeah, exactly. And now
you
have
roll the ball down the middle.
And now you have a free agent, Nelson Cruz, looking at a National League team to go sign with.
Well, so is Jorge Soler.
Exactly. And
that's why the Dodgers are probably going crazy for him, because
I mean, look what he did for Atlanta this year, especially in the postseason. Him and Eddie Rosario.
Leading off? Are you serious?
Yeah,
I never would have told you in a million years that Jorge Soler was going to lead off Game 1 of the World Series.
Exactly. You just couldn't fucking...
Like, what?
Yeah, you couldn't...
Especially because that game was in Houston with the DH.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then he goes and hits a home run first pitch. I think it was first pitch.
I wouldn't doubt it. It made it exciting. It's like, let's go!
I was at a bar down in Houston watching that game on TV, and he hit that pitch and the entire bar went from really like excited, a little nervous energy going. The ball got hit, silent, dead silent. All because he got to play DH.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great for the sport. It's great for the sport. It really is.
It's another batter.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
Because they need to do whatever they can. Because realistically, I have like 6 friends that are around here. 1 is a baseball fan. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is around the country. And they have to do anything they can to get new fans.
Right. And it's tough.
It is extremely tough.
Because baseball's been dying for a long time. And we need to bring it back because baseball is one of the best sports out there. Let's be honest. It's fun, and it's nerve wracking. Yeah. So we'll see how the season plays out.
Yeah, and I get why it's hard to get new fans because football you have a new play every 30 seconds with action.
And hockey, basketball is just so fast paced most of the time. So
hockey's the same way as basketball. And then baseball, you could have 6 pitches, either A, be fouled off or B, just taken. So it's hard to get new fans to stay engaged in the game, but if they can find ways like the bat flips, let them happen.
Oh, let the bat flips.
If you're a pitcher and don't like it, make a better pitch. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, it's a very easy way to not be bat flipped on. Don't throw a bad pitch.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Like
your
Tatis,
job is to pitch. Yeah.
Don't throw a fucking 3-0 pitch right down the dick. Just don't do it.
I don't fucking care if it's 8. What was it? 8-0, 7-0 at that time.
Yeah, and then he hit a 3-0 fucking grand slam.
Yeah, in the 8th inning. Like who cares? Like,
exactly. If you don't want a home run hit,
don't go down 3-0.
Yeah,
and lob one over.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's kind of push this along because we've got a lot of players that we kind of have to get to before we've already been live for 20 minutes. So, all right, so we're just gonna do a little rundown now. We'll talk about teams probably in a later episode. Kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. So your next guy is Kevin Gausman going on a 5-year deal to Toronto. I mean, he put up numbers 2 years in a row. I mean, he's been kind of lights out, been a for sure ace for the San Francisco Giants.
Name me a better rotation right now.
I'm not sold on Kikuchi because you also have to look at the
1 to 5.
You also have to look at the White Sox rotation though. The White Sox have a pretty decent rotation as well.
They lost Rodon.
They lost Rodon, but that's fine. They still have Lance Lynn. They've got a couple other names that are pretty big too.
I see his face. Lucas Giolito.
Giolito. I know they've got a good 1 through 4 there. So
yeah,
we'll have to deep dive into some lineups and see. We'll make our predictions here probably in this episode if we feel it,
or closer to the start of the actual season.
True. So all right, let's kick to the next guy. Going back to the Mets, you have Starling Marte at age 33 signing a 4-year, $78 million deal. I mean, you might be losing Conforto, which hurts your bats because Conforto, he's pretty decent with the stick, but
yeah,
you're
I always get him and Ketel flipped.
Yeah.
So you lost a left-handed bat, but now you have a switch hitter, but that was Ketel, not Starling.
Yeah, and so now you're looking at you've got a for sure 1, 2, or 3 guy in Starling Marte. Yeah. He can hit in any of those spots, and he's gonna produce for you. So Mets have come out slinging money because Steve Cohen, he's like, I'll fucking buy everybody. I mean,
he wants to win, and I love owners like that.
I mean, he went and got Francisco Lindor. He went and got Javi Baez. Now he's got Max Scherzer and Starling Marte. You've got 2 guys who are veterans in the league and have had success in their career, bringing it to New York, which is great for their team.
Yeah.
So your next guy is you're going Eduardo Rodriguez. You've got a guy who's 28 going on a 5-year, $77 million deal. It's great for Detroit. I mean,
I can't believe they got him.
I
can't believe they got him and Baez because I feel like as a free agent, it's so hard to pull them to Detroit without being traded here.
Especially hitters. I feel like you could get pitchers all day because it's let's be real, isn't it a pitcher's park? You've been there quite a numerous amount of times, but it's a pitcher's park. It's hard getting actual hitters there, and I think with their young team that they got around them right now, I think they'll be all right. I don't think they'll break that echelon yet. I think they're a couple pitchers away. They need Casey Mize to be what they predicted him to be for them to be
to
great.
Step up.
Exactly.
Skubal did good.
Yeah, but we just really need to see their pitchers come together,
Yeah.
especially their bullpen. So.
Oh wow.
And now we got Mr. I'm gonna try to get everybody to come to Chicago with me. Marcus Stroman signing a 3-year deal for $71 million. I honestly thought Stroman was washed. I really did, and then he did decent in
he's
New York.
Horrible, but he's not doing great.
He's not doing what he used to do.
Not in Toronto.
No. So then your next guy, staying with the Dodgers, Mr. like clutch himself. The Mariners let him go. Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor's been phenomenal in the playoffs every single year.
He would make me so upset.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal in the playoffs every single year. And nobody ever thought Chris Taylor would be as good as he actually is.
No.
And
I think that's what made me so upset was like every time the Dodgers had a clutch situation, he's the guy at batting.
Yep, he is. And
I'm like, how does this even happen?
And he always followed through.
After home run.
Or RBI. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Comes up big in big situations. Happy for him making that bag because, you know, he was a plug-and-play guy when he was with the Mariners. And then we traded him. And he's been nothing but a star for LA. And now we're going to another LA team. You have Raisel Iglesias. Been pretty decent. He's been pretty decent in his whole career. What? He was on the Cardinals before? Or the Reds? He's on the Reds. Been very, very decent. Very decent throughout his whole career. I think 1 year he did, but hey, it's good for LA. For the Angels. They do not have a bullpen. They do not have really a starting rotation. And them getting Raisel Iglesias back on that 4-year deal, I think bolsters their bullpen. And
it's only 25.
It helps them.
That's huge.
Doesn't matter. The Mariners are still gonna stomp them, but
yeah, hey. The Angels are still gonna come in last place.
Exactly. So we got that
because like they got a great closer in Iglesias, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they won't need to use him because they won't be winning.
Yeah.
Unless Ohtani pitches that day.
Exactly. Ohtani's their best chance. So, all right, now we're gonna go to Texas again. They got John Gray on a 4-year deal.
That's who they got.
4-year deal.
I'd like to see him not at Coors.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very interested because when Ubaldo left Coors and went to Baltimore, he threw a no-hitter. So.
Yep. So, I mean, good for them. They're trying to get stuff going. They got John Gray, and John Gray has been average. He's been very average throughout his career.
But he's pitching. I would like to look at his home road splits, but pitching in Coors has to suck.
It probably does. But, hey, he got enough to get a decent deal done. Especially now he's moving out of the cold, gonna go bask in the fucking heat. He's gonna be loose for days, baby.
Yeah.
All right, our next guy, Avasil Garcia, going from Milwaukee to Miami on a 4-year deal. He really turned it on last year.
He batted second for them, right?
He did.
Behind Willie.
Second or third. And you know what? That's another guy who kind of revitalized his career, was getting traded to Milwaukee. And I love Willie Adames. I think he's great. But Garcia really...
That 20 season got him up there.
Yeah, but Garcia really, really took over leadership of that Milwaukee team last year with Christian Yelich on a big slump last year.
Bad year.
And, you know, they made the playoffs, and it was mostly Garcia. Garcia and a couple of, you know, punch-and-play guys, right? And Garcia getting himself a deal in Miami. Miami's still staying young. He's clocking in at 30, though, 30 and a half. And maybe he's giving them that good veteran presence that Miami really needs. So, I mean, good signing by them. Got a guy for, $53 million for 4 years. Not bad at all. good on your books.
Over 12.
Yeah, it's 13.2 basically.
Yeah.
It's good on your books. So good for him. Justin Verlander staying in Houston on a 2-year deal. I mean,
that one.
Verlander's Verlander, man.
I heard rumors that he was going to come back to Detroit.
I doubt it. He won a World Series with Houston. He's sticking with them.
Yeah.
He's won Cy Youngs with them. And don't get me wrong,
he kid in me wanted him to come back.
Oh, of course.
I don't like the Tigers, but the kid.
I fucking hate the Astros, but we got to keep it biased, right? Good deal by him. If he can stay healthy, he's for sure your ace. He's still got it. He's like wine, right?
Yeah.
It gets better with fucking age, and he's been so good, so dominant for so fucking long, and I don't understand it. The man is just him and DeGrom were like this for a very long time, and then DeGrom was just like, I throw way harder than you, so I'm the best. But I mean, you can't ever. It's like it's so weird because the top 3 pitchers are Verlander, DeGrom, and Scherzer. Yep. It's insane.
2 of the 3 were on the same rotation at one time.
Exactly, and it's crazy. Verlander back to Houston. I don't know where Houston slots this year. I mean, they lost Springer last year going to Toronto. They are gonna lose Correa. I don't think he's coming back. Bregman is probably out the door at some point, right?
And I think Altuve.
Altuve's staying. He's a homer
Not with
for
the
life.
Scandal.
I don't know, man.
He's gonna try and do what Springer did and prove to everybody that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna stick there because he was basically what they built everything about, making multiple World Series around. Yeah. And Altuve was been the heart and soul of that team, while Correa was kind of the spark plug. And they're losing out on their what's the word? Their hype guy, and that's Correa. They're losing out on him. I don't think he's coming back. He's got a tarnished name right now with the scandal. Mm-hmm. And if he goes somewhere and produces, you know what? All's forgiven, because Carlos Correa is a great fucking
that's why Springer left.
Exactly.
I'm convinced.
They're all great, and it's just such a shitty thing that happened. Trust me, like it's not great being in their division year in, year out, getting our asses fucking handed to them.
We only saw him once or twice a year.
Exactly. But, you got a lot of guys coming out of Houston that aren't going to stay. And, I mean, what's his name? Their Kyle Tucker. Praise be him. He's amazing. And they've still got a decent team. Yuri Gurriel came out fucking with a purpose last year.
He hit, what, 340 last
year? Fucking insane last year. But now we're going to the new signings, the new ones that have picked up after the lockout. You have Carlos Rondon going from the White Sox to San Fran on a 2-year deal. I think this is a prove-it deal for him. He's had he had that no-hitter.
Yep.
Early last season before they made all the changes with pitchers, and I still think after they made those changes, getting rid of like spider tack, all the substance and stuff, I mean, let's put it out there, that's cheating. You do any of that,
maybe they shouldn't make the ball so slick.
Yeah, they shouldn't, but we'll see what happens with Rondon this year. If he comes out and he starts slinging it, I might change my opinion.
He went to Pitcher's Park.
He did, and you know what? If he comes out slinging it, I'm gonna fucking change my opinion. I think he's just a dude who goes out and throws every 5th game.
Yeah. Especially
with the White Sox, that's what he was. He was their 5th guy. Bottom of your rotation. Shocked to see he didn't go back, especially because the White Sox are in such a good place in their division.
Well, they weren't gonna give him that money.
Oh no, they weren't, but with just how he pitched last year, I'm just shocked that a deal couldn't be done, but their money's tied up elsewhere. You have Steven Matz going from Toronto to St. Louis on a 4-year deal.
I think that'll go just as well as John Lester.
I mean, I thought Steven Matt's kind of been washed for a while.
Exactly. So was John Lester when he went to the Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Yusei Kikuchi leaving Seattle, going to Toronto on a 3-year deal, $36 million. A very friendly deal. I don't think he's good at all. He let us down more times than I can count in the last, 4 or 5 years that we've had him. Not been great. And we got him at a younger age, and now he's 30, and we'll see if he can go into Toronto and do some things different, because Toronto apparently is breeding pitchers now.
Yeah, I don't know where they got their pitching coaches from,
but apparently they're amazing. So we'll see what happens there.
Because for you, like I said, name a better fucking 5-man.
Right.
With Barrios.
Oh, that's right. They did get Barrios.
Ryu. I just saw it.
It's Ryu, Barrios. I think
Alec
Manoah.
Manoah.
But I think Nathan. What's his name? The fucking
Nate Pearson.
Nate Pearson. And you got
He needs to
now.
get right.
Oh, he does. I think
once he gets right, it's gonna be like Kopech. Once he gets right, my God, the league should be scared.
Yeah.
Because Pearson's really good. He showed that he could be really good, but he also showed that he can be very inconsistent.
Yeah.
And obviously, you don't want that.
So our next guy, Anthony Desclafani, going on a 3-year deal back to San Francisco. I mean, he's been decent. He's been really good for him.
That was a good deal for them.
Great deal for them. Slotting in at $12 million a year. I mean, you still have some money to throw around, so we still have a lot of free agency left, which is weird because you have spring training starting next week.
Yeah.
And you've got to get these guys in. You really, really, really do. Your next guy is Mark Canha. Mark Canha went from Oakland. Thank God. I'm tired of seeing him. To the Mets. It's filling a spot. Mark Canha's 32, almost 33 years old. Still can hit the shit out of the ball. Especially if you're going with a DH, right? Mark Canha can slot in at DH and do great things for New York. We'll see what happens. I think New York's going to be just fine this year. All these people are talking shit about the Mets this year, and I don't know, man. They're throwing money around.
I think as long as everybody stays healthy, at least the core stays healthy, because obviously every team has injuries.
Right.
And with Freddie Freeman getting here and there, he's most likely not going back to Atlanta. And if Chris Bryant, these all have to happen. If Chris Bryant doesn't go to Philly either, the Mets will run with that division, and it won't be close.
Oh, exactly.
Obviously, if Chris Bryant going to Philly, they have a shot.
Right.
And if Freddie Freeman does miraculously stay in.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about the signing.
Yeah. Freddie Freeman stays in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They'll have a run for it with Acuna coming back. They still have Albies. It's most of the core.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to have a lot of money left on the books if they can.
But I don't think anyone will compete with the Mets if they all stay healthy. That's
exactly. I don't either. I think the Mets have a for sure shot of winning the division and making it far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With the things that they've signed. So your next guy, Alex Woods, staying in San Fran on a 2-year deal, $25 million. Not bad. I mean, he's one of those dudes that just keeps producing.
I hated that guy in 20 the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That went on Polo Grounds, my God.
Right. He's doing things, and San Fran's trying to keep a pitching rotation that they can stay competitive with, and I like it. Your next guy, it hurts me. It really does. Kendall Graveman going to the White Sox. That
bullpen just got so much better.
It did, and Kendall Graveman loves Seattle. He loved it. He loved what we were about. He wanted, I use we as, I'm on the team, but I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. But Kendall Graveman.
You got yourself, not me.
Yeah, I know. Multiple people that I talked to all thought, very sports-heavy guys. My brother, who is, has his own shows and everything, he talks about he talked about Kendall Graveman coming back because he was just getting shipped out. We got Toro out of the deal, and we thought for sure he'd come back, help bolster our bullpen, which the Mariners have a great bullpen right now. And we thought that he was going to come back, give us another solidified arm, but, he ended up going to Chicago, and Chicago White Sox are a scary team, especially with...
in a bad division.
Yeah, and...
because I don't think the Guardians are going to do well.
I don't either. Cause
they have 2 hitters and 1 pitcher. What else is obsolete?
J-Ram's gone. Like, he's.
But he is starting gone. He is starting the year with them.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be gone at the deadline. I do not think it'll be long till he's out.
And Franmil, I think the Guardians will get like a Nelson Cruz type deal for Franmil.
Yeah, and he'll just DH.
Yep, that's all they need him to do.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
hit home runs. Just go there, hit home runs.
So one of the signings that I was lost about and didn't see, if he can stay healthy, he's a difference maker, and that's Noah Syndergaard to the Angels.
I forgot he left New York.
Right? I forgot too.
That was like the first deal, wasn't it?
It was one of the first deals.
It was one of the first like bigger name players to be signed back in like the end of October. No, it wasn't the end of October.
It was like
second week of November.
Yeah, and so if you're looking at a healthy Noah Syndergaard, you're helping out Shohei a lot. Especially with Iglesias in the pin to kind of come.
The rest of the pitching staff still is underwhelming.
Yeah, it is.
That's my opinion.
Then you have Alex Cobb leaving the Angels and going to San Francisco. He's another guy that I just feel like almost 35 years old, and he doesn't ever look good. Doesn't really throw the ball hard, but he gets stuff done. He's
a contact pitcher.
He is, but he gets
That's
the
good
outs.
In San Francisco.
Exactly. And then you have, another Mets signing with Eduardo Escobar, having a switch hitter who has been consistently great wherever he's been.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, he
did not play well.
He did not do well
at all.
But now he's going to New York, and we'll see how he does. Again, the Mets are throwing around some money for some big name kind of dudes, and they want to win it all this year.
They do. And if they don't win the next 3 years, I'd call it a disappointment.
I agree. And now you're going to your next guy who everybody thought was out and going to Texas with Kershaw. You thought I honestly thought he was leaving because he just won a World Series. A couple years ago, they won a World Series, and he was just, so ecstatic. And the way they lost last year, it really thought that he was gone. A lot of people thought he was coming back.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was gone with the way he was just the way his mannerisms were around the stadium when they lost that final game, and I definitely thought he was gone. I thought he might even just stay in LA, but just go to the Angels instead.
Yeah. But,
good for him.
Staying with his team that he came up with. It's crazy. Then you have Hector Neris going from Philly to Houston. Not really worried about that one. Hector Neris has not been great. And,
but if they can get him to be
decent, that's the only way they can.
He's the perfect fill for Kendall.
Yeah, exactly. And Shelfie's talked a lot about Hector Neris, and Shelfie does not like him at all.
It's the Hector Neris project.
Yeah. Aaron
if they
Loop.
can do the same thing that they did with Presley, he'll be just fine, actually.
Yeah. So you have Aaron Loop going from New York to the Angels, which I guess is bolstering their bullpen. Aaron Loop had a decent season with the Mets this year. He had a decent season. One of the first times I've really ever heard his name. He had a decent year, especially if you look at MLB The Show, he got himself a finest card because he was one of the...
Did he actually?
He did. He was one of the better people on their roster. And,
oh, gee.
Yeah. But you're bolstering
that doesn't say much about your team.
The guy's 34. He got a 2-year deal for 17. It's friendly for him, I guess. We'll see how it does.
The Angels have money.
They do. Then you have Lurie Garcia going from... He's staying in Chicago on a 3-year deal. Chicago's just in a really good spot.
If they don't win the division, I would be stunned.
So you also have Mark Melancon going from San Diego to Arizona. I mean, about the end of his career, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just trying to get money at this point. Yan Gomes going to the Cubs. Yimi Garcia going to Toronto. Corey Knebel going to the Phillies. James Paxton, one of the most let down dudes I've ever really seen after Big Maple, baby. Loved him on the Mariners when he, threw that perfect game against Toronto.
Well,
love to see it, but James Paxton has a very, very high chance that he's going to get injured in one of his first starts this year, and he's going to be out all year.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of been his MO. He pitches phenomenally, and then he fucking gets hurt. And he's just, you just wasted $10 million right there.
Yeah.
Don't know who Brooks Raley is, but he's in Tampa. So, there you go, Ben.
He was on the team last year.
He was on
He was on Tampa last year.
No, he was on the Astros.
I thought they traded for him.
They could have. I don't know. It just says it on Sports Chat. Then you have Andrew Heaney going from New York to the Dodgers on a 1-year deal. Kirby Yates going to Atlanta. I'm sorry, Dimmu. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. He was on Houston last year.
Corey Kluber. Ooh, he's in Tampa Bay.
Ouchie.
Big ouchie.
I don't want him. Just send him back. I don't want him.
Manuel Pina, he's in Atlanta. Came from Milwaukee. Luis Garcia in San Diego. I mean, there's not really a lot of other kind of big names.
I mean, nailed the bigger ones.
Cole Calhoun is in Texas now. Dylan Bundy's in Minnesota. Michael Wacha is in Boston.
Thank God he's not in Tampa anymore.
Rich Hill, 42 years old in Boston. Andrelton Simmons, the one you talked about earlier, going from Minnesota to the White Sox.
I think went to the Cubs.
Oh, the Cubs.
Yeah.
My bad. He went to the Cubs.
The Andrelton Simmons project.
I mean, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal in the field. Phenomenal.
He just can't hit.
No, he can't. Trust me, I've watched him a lot when he was with the Angels. He fucking was a hack and slash man.
That is why he got a Gold Glove card.
Exactly. Yoshi Tsutsugo, he's staying in Pitt.
Panned out.
Everybody does. Quintana, he's in Pitt. Severino, Pedro Severino, he's in Milwaukee now. Steve Cishek, he's to the Nationals. Clint Frazier going to the Whites or the Cubs. Camargo, get him the fuck out of Atlanta. He's in Philly. And that's about it for
like a recap. Yeah.
For the recap. I mean, shit, that was a long recap, but hey, we'll take it. Almost an hour worth of recap.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
There was like 200 and some odd signings.
So let's just talk about like 3 guys that are in free agency right now. Let's talk about Correa. It's
got to be Correa, Bryant, and Freeman.
And let's go 4. Trevor Story too.
He'll need Tommy John, and he's obsolete for the whole year.
He's out for the whole year, but a team that wants to throw their money around or who has a lot of money and doesn't care about the cap.
I think he's gonna be too picky.
Of course, but
I'm gonna put the last one signed.
I'm gonna put New York at the top of his list. Really am. I'm gonna really say the Yankees want to take a shot at him, give him the year full of rehab, put him on the payroll. That way he's covered. The Yankees are probably a decent fit for him. I'm not really huge on the Yankees. They spend a lot of money and don't get a lot done.
I've been saying that for years.
I mean, look, they've traded for Giancarlo Stanton. What's he done? He's been hurt. Aaron Judge, they've put a lot of time in him. He's getting hurt. I mean, you don't trust Luke Voit, and Luke Voit was been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you went and got Rizzo. Gary
You literally
Sanchez
had
is
Garrett Cole start for you in that wild card game and still lost.
Exactly. I mean, you shelled out money for Garrett
too.
Cole. Gary Sanchez is very up and down. Their outfield, like, they're just kind of waiting on Jason Dominguez to get called up.
He's only like 19, so.
But I mean, they've got Glaber. You keep him at second. You try to get a guy for next year to kind of make a big push in Trevor Story.
Correa doesn't pan out.
I don't think Correa is going to go to New York. I don't think, for, like we said earlier, to kind of like give himself like his name back with in good graces. I don't think he goes to the Yankees because, you know, the Yankees are such a high standing name. They've got a lot of high standing players. I think
high standard.
Exactly. I think Correa needs to go to a team that, you know, isn't as well star-studded. And I mean, I've heard Baltimore thrown out for him.
I'd be stunned.
I'd be stun-locked.
Yeah.
I'd be stun-locked, but
I'd have to do like a triple take at my phone when that notification goes through.
You know, Baltimore is in a young part of their build right now. I mean, you've
with
got
Adley and Gunner
and Mountcastle.
Mountcastle. Then
you have Trey Mancini coming off of, you know, comeback player of the year. Incredible year, and he's gonna be your DH. And
the fact that he went through that whole cancer process, is cancer free, and then had that season.
Exactly. It's crazy.
That's just incredible.
I mean, I'm hurt. Mitch Haniger didn't win. Mitch Haniger had the.
But you gotta give it to.
I know you gotta give it to Trey. But Mitch Haniger fucking busted his nut. He busted his fucking nut.
The only person that didn't want Trey to have it was Pete Alonso, because that's why he almost beat him in the home run, or that's why he beat him in the home run derby.
Exactly. But I think Correa could go to Baltimore, and with their young team, I think he's their spark plug and really kind of makes some noise in that division. And
they'll still finish last place.
Most likely, but I just think you get your young guys up there. I think they make a pretty strong case of being very competitive. And
you want to hear a crazy take?
I do. I think
Correa,
that's my role, but hey, let's see.
Correa goes to Boston.
Ooh, that is a spicy take. They've also got a pretty decent team.
Because Xander can play
wherever.
Second.
Yeah, and then
put him at second.
You still have Kike, who fucking just
out in center field. Oh. You throw him out in center field. Perfect, right? Even though he can play second, you keep him out in center. You throw Correa there. You have Devers at third. You hopefully Bobby Dahlbeck learned how to hit in the offseason. He's your first baseman.
Yep.
Then you have Christian Vasquez.
Vasquez.
Yeah.
Yes. As behind your catcher, who's very defensively sound.
That's perfect. Fine.
Exactly. We don't.
Let him
hit
7.
You need to hit like 220. Give him about 25 home runs.
In the against Tampa in the ALDS, you know who hit a home run? He did.
Yeah, exactly. So I think both fits are good for him. I think it's a perfect spot going to Baltimore or the Red Sox. I think it's a perfect fit for him. I really do. Just to be like, hey, I'm not a bad guy. I'm really good at baseball.
Yeah, and I think what would help him by going to Boston instead of the Yankees is there's less like the standards are still high, but they're not as high as being a New York Yankee.
No, they're not.
But it still has that franchise pedigree name
yes.
that the Yankees have without the high standards that Yankees fans have. Obviously, the Red Sox fans are very loyal.
Yeah.
But I think, and with that green monster, I just think he'd have a field day.
Yeah,
a literal field day.
I think that as well. So, I mean, either Baltimore or Boston, I think that's a perfect fit for him. And
I don't think it'll be a National League team.
I think he will soar. I really do, because Carlos Correa is that guy. He is that dude. So the next guy, we're gonna save the big fish for last. Chris Bryant. I really think it's down to 2 teams right now. I really do. I think it's the
Philly and Seattle.
I think it's Philly and Seattle. I don't know if he'll go to Philly because Philly is in such a weird spot.
It depends on how well Bryce Harper. Like
I don't even know if it's that though. You know what I mean?
But they grew up in Vegas together.
I know. But years past, you look at the Phillies, and they're always right there. And then just some fucking weird thing happens.
Yeah.
And they go on this huge losing streak. And, I mean, they went and broke the bank for Bryce, you know?
Well, see, Bryce made his contract for this year. You know, like this year, last year, next year. His contract's all backloaded. So the Phillies have the cap space to go out and get someone like Chris Bryant.
Hold on. Chris Bassett is now a New York Met.
I didn't get that notification. That's really sad.
I didn't either. But just opened the good old Twitter, and I see Draftneck Mark saying Mets traded for Chris Bassett, and then Jeff Passan right underneath it. He is now a Met, which again, you're adding to that New York Met fucking pitching rotation, and it's scary. You just said look at Toronto's, starting 5, and now
I'd like to take my statement back.
I'd like to put it in your face a little bit. Let's look at the fucking New York Mets pitching staff. Holy shit, that's big. That's big.
I don't want to.
But I just don't know. Like, Chris Bryant wants to win, and I think you look at the Mariners, and I mean this could be a little homer miss take for me, but you look at the Mariners the last 5 years. They've been 4-5 in the division. The last 2 years they've kind of I know it was a Mickey Mouse year, and it was tough because Kyle Lewis kind of put the team on his back and said, "Let's go, boys. We're gonna have some fun," and we missed the playoffs by 2 or 3 games. And you look at last year, Kyle Seager and Mitch Haniger said, "All right, boys, let's fucking play." And Ty France, the Mariners are just this young team, and I'm pretty sure their oldest dude on the field right now is Mitch Haniger, and you need one more kind of veteran piece. And like I said, you look at Chris Bryant comes in, he fills the void of Seager. Yeah. Now that he's retired, you have the Phillies have prospects. They've got Alec Boehm. They've got
He has not played well at the major league level.
He is not yet, but he's still very young.
And Bryant fills that until he figures it out.
That's true. And then what's that other dude from Vegas? Bryson Stott, I think his name is.
Scott.
Yeah, that
He's
guy.
Number 1 overall pick in 16 or whatever.
Yeah. He's probably gonna see some time this year. And
well, they might as well give him a chance because Alec Boehm's not playing to his potential.
Exactly. But
that's what you get. If you want the spot, play better.
I think you look at it very analytically. The Mariners just need that guy who's gonna hit 270. It's gonna hit you about 25 to 35 home runs and break your RBIs. I look at Kyle Seager last year, and he hit around 210, and he hit that 35 home runs, which was phenomenal. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But he strikes out a lot, and he gets, he hits the ball right to somebody. He didn't have a really high RBI average, and now you're looking at Chris Bryant, and with the rest of your cap that you have, I mean, offer him what? Chris Bryant's 29, 30?
Something like that, yeah.
you offer him a 6-year deal with however much you can give him, and you looking at a very good young farm system that he's gonna be a part of with J-Rod, Novelli Marte, Hancock, Kirby, all those dudes. And I think the Mariners make a big push for him just because Diapoto is not fucking around anymore. He went and made some moves last year that made sense. You traded Kendall Graveman for Abraham Toro, and look what he did. A switch hitter, first fucking game against the Astros, hits a fucking 2-run shot. The crowd's going fucking crazy. Like, I think
there's one problem that is the same between the two teams. Because you still have the big bad Astros.
Yeah. And you
obviously they're gonna compete. They're still gonna compete even if they do end up losing Correa. Mm-hmm. They're still gonna be a good team. They're gonna be better than the Angels. They're gonna be better than the A's, even though the A's always piss me off in some way throughout the season because they're just always there.
Yeah,
right?
I really hope that they're still better than Texas.
And Texas is a question mark if Corey Seager can stay healthy, but
exactly.
That's not the point. The point is they're still gonna have to battle the Astros, so that's one roadblock for winning, and then go to Philly, like you said, the Mets. I don't see anybody in that division beating the Mets.
I just don't know if Chris Bryant wants to.
He's gotta have a roadblock.
I don't. If I'm looking at pitching staffs, I'd much rather face the Astros pitching staff than the fucking Mets, cause you're looking at it, you're like, fuck, I gotta go up against Jacob deGrom one night, Max Scherzer the next night, Chris Bassett
the third,
and fucking who?
There's your 3-game series.
Exactly.
Right there.
And Chris Bassett in the last 2 years has been nothing but phenomenal. And so I mean, we'll see what happens. I really hope he comes to the Mariners. I want to see that 20-year drought gone. Yeah. But it's up in the air. We'll see how the year goes. I think the Mariners have a very good shot at maybe winning the division this year. And that could be a very enticing thing too, is you're just one player away. And with them going to get Robbie Ray, and hopefully Robbie Ray stays to form, you're looking at a very, very scary Mariners team this year, especially if Kelenic can kind of use his head, because they sent him down. They were like, hey, you're fucking not as good as you really think you are, bud. And they brought him.
Yeah. The ego checked him.
And so you brought him back up, and guess what? Dude was taking more pitches that he was swinging at earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's why they ego checked him.
Yeah, and he was getting on base, and he was hitting home runs. And we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a fun season. And now we're gonna rotate to our last guy, and that's MV Freeman. Freddie Freeman has a lot of interest drawn in him in multiple different ways. I've heard the Rays. I've heard the Dodgers.
I don't believe the Tampa one.
I don't either, because fucking your guys' GM doesn't do shit.
Tampa either A, drafts people and forms them just based off the coaches.
Yep.
They're homegrown.
I mean, I'm sorry you guys have a stupid head coach, but hey. I'm sorry. But
I wanted to cry real tears when he took Snell out, and I still remember. I was sitting right down there.
As a Seattle boy, I wanted to cry real tears too.
The Dodgers 1 through 3 hitters were 0 for 9 and 8 strikeouts, and who was up to bat when he took them out? Mookie Betts. What are we doing? I'm really mad now.
He did it twice. He did it not once. He did it twice in the fucking World Series.
I was at the first one.
Ouchie. But it looks like the Dodgers are making a huge push for Freddie Freeman. I just don't know
where they get this money from.
Trust me, I don't either.
They spend more than the Yankees do.
Dodgers fans, I'd be excited right now because that's the only reports you're really seeing, because Atlanta, I don't know if they can.
Kenley still hasn't gone back to LA.
Yeah, and I don't know if Atlanta can shell out the money to bring him back. He might be playing the long con game. And I mean, if I'm Freddie, I honestly want to go back to Atlanta. Let's run this back.
Why not?
Like,
why would you leave?
You're getting you're getting Albies, who is been phenomenal.
A good year.
He's been great, and you're getting Ronald Acuna back, and you
won a World Series without him.
Exactly. And imagine what you can do with him. But you're looking at a Dodgers team that has Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger, and if Cody Bellinger can figure his shit out again and be what he was, the Dodgers are the scariest team in the league, because who's gonna stop Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger?
Scary. Say they do go out and get Freeman. You know what's scary? They lost Corey Seager and Max Scherzer. And they're still that scary.
Exactly.
To win the West and win the...
let's look at a fucking Dodgers team right now. At first base, you're going to slot in Freddie Freeman. You have Mookie, Chris Taylor, and Cody Bellinger playing in your outfield. You've got Trey Turner, one of the best leadoff guys there is.
Oh, 100%.
Trey Turner's scary. That dude hits fucking dingers like it's nobody's business.
But with the universal DH, you throw Max Muncy as the DH.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a fucking... And Will Smith, of all people. Will Smith has turned out to be a phenomenal catcher.
Shout out to the Loons one time.
Yeah, he's been better defensively last year. He's swinging the stick better. I mean, and you've got Justin Turner sitting in at third. I hate Justin Turner too, but fuck, he's good. Like, you're looking at a very good Dodgers team, and I wouldn't be surprised if Freddie went there. But
the only problem I see with that Dodgers team is the pitching staff. It's the back end of the bullpen, especially if you lose Jansen, because you lose Jansen, right?
Yep.
You lost Knebel, who pitched fantastic for you in the postseason last year, gave you a ton of innings.
Yep.
Like, those are two big pieces. I know Jansen in the postseason had his, blown saves.
Right. But
not including the one to Brett Phillips. That I'm talking this past postseason where he was literally 50-50 and you didn't know what you were gonna get.
Yeah.
Which was scary. But
but Kenley's also getting up there in age. He's getting up there in age to where it's like he caught for a long time, so
he started with the Loons as a catcher, and still have his bobblehead there.
His body could just be, finally catching up to him. So that's kind of our recap on MLB and MLB free agency. We still have a lot to come in this next week, and it's gonna be insane to see.
It's gonna hurt my head.
It really is. It's gonna be exciting to see what these players do, especially with the 4 big names we just threw out there. I mean, there's a lot more.
There was still 6 others we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, really, and I mean, we don't want to make this episode fucking super lengthy, but that's our MLB portion, and it's just gonna be a wild season that they brought it back. Like, who's gonna win each division is so up in the air right now, and we're gonna be here giving you guys all the insiders and our thoughts and things like that when throughout the season. But on that note, you want to switch over to probably...
Oh, what a wild week in the first week of the fiscal year, eh?
Yeah. Are you ready to break my heart again?
Yeah, I am. It's going to be very delightful for me, actually.
Okay. So we're going to switch over to NFL talk now. To start the week off, Aaron Rodgers goes back to the Packers, which is huge for him. But let's fucking talk about the Packers for a minute. They're still the Packers. They don't have a great defense. They've got a mid-tier defense. Bringing Aaron Rodgers back is huge because now you have, Adams is going to be happy. And you still have, what's his name? What's their running back? Aaron Jones. Yeah, Aaron Jones. I think they're...
A.J. Dillon.
They've got Robert Tonyan, right? I'm pretty sure that's their tight end.
Yeah.
And then they have the slew of wide receivers behind Adams, which I think they're a wide receiver away from, being that team again in the NFC.
Stop it.
I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He takes them far all the time, but Aaron Rodgers is also,
They play in a cupcake division.
They do.
Just like the Chicago White Sox, who got stomped in the playoffs, except for their blackout night.
Yeah.
Bro, you play the Lions twice, you play the Bears twice, and you play the Vikings twice. Kirk Cousins is horrible.
He is.
He'll get you 6 to 7 wins and screw you over in the draft every single year because at least the Lions tanked and went 3 and whatever and somehow got the second pick. The Bears are kind of there, but I mean that's 6 games right there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. Like the Cardinals were supposed to be good, and the Packers did go there and beat them last year.
Right.
But I say it every year. Obviously, I grew up not liking the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
But they always just lose. How does Aaron Rodgers have as many Super Bowl appearances as Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's true. It's true. It's
Like,
super astounding. The Packers don't do anything to help their guys. They really don't.
But you know what else is worse about it? How many of those playoff losses are at home?
I mean,
if not all of them, it has to be all of them but one.
The ones that I've seen in the last 10 years, they've lost to San Francisco, or they've lost to Seattle. So
one was actually, I think it was the NFC Championship.
It was in Seattle, and it was the Fail
Mary.
That's
the only loss Aaron Rodgers has in the playoffs on the road.
It was the Fail Mary with Golden Tate in the end zone.
Oh yeah, but you had last year, this past season was San Francisco.
Yep.
The year before that was Tampa.
Mm-hmm. And you lost to the GOAT.
They lost to the GOAT. Was it the Niners again?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
They beat Seattle that one year. It was in them, but then they lost to fucking. I want to say it was San Fran, or was it?
Yeah, but that was probably at home.
It's just been like.
That's my problem with the Packers.
Let's be honest here. The Packers don't do anything to help Aaron Rodgers. 4 years ago now, they drafted Jordan Love with the 15th overall pick, and what has he done? He started one game for him and threw 5 fucking picks in the first half.
And he let the Lions beat him.
Exactly. So,
But like I said, with the Lions, that's a Mickey Mouse loss because they didn't even dress Aaron Jones.
Right.
They didn't dress Devontae.
Yeah, and so
half their defense wasn't there. It was a Mickey Mouse loss.
It's so hard for Aaron Rodgers to be happy where he's at. I mean,
and Matt LaFleur is not a bad coach.
It's their GM. Their GM doesn't want to do anything to kind of put them on that spectrum. Like you're getting an MVP caliber player in Aaron Rodgers every single year that you put him out there, because he's just gonna throw the ball to fucking Devonta Adams and be great. It's what he does.
I think some of the problem is, have you ever seen Green Bay on the map?
Not really.
You should. It is the definition of a small market team.
Exactly. And
Green Bay is in the middle of basically nowhere.
Yeah, and the big thing is your big thing that you have going for you is you have Adams and Rodgers. That's it. I mean, Aaron Jones is phenomenal.
And AJ Dillon are a fantastic duo.
Right. But they're not superstars. You have 2 superstars on that team. They don't go get themselves a defense. They only go for. They have their running backs. They've got a wide receiver. They've got a quarterback.
Scantling's not horrible.
And they've got a very decent O-line. And they really need to go out and spend some time on their fucking defense so they don't have these weird fucking wild losses.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy. But, Aaron Rodgers is going to do Aaron Rodgers things. I think he's only got 1 or 2 years left in him to act, because I don't think he enjoys playing football anymore. I really don't.
I think before he said he was coming back, I kept telling myself I'd be shocked if he actually retired, because finally in the NFC you don't have Brady.
Yep.
He's gone. You don't have Drew Brees. He's
well,
gone.
Debatable. Tom Brady, I would think if he was 100% gonna retire, I wholeheartedly believe that he would have asked for Tampa to release him, and he would have went and signed it one day with New England, because That's where he's won most of his rings. That's where Tom Brady became the GOAT. And I really think that if he was actually going to retire, like, you're losing out on Brady and Gronk if he's actually gone. Because Gronk's not coming back if Brady's not. There's no reason to. And
I still like that he got traded to Detroit and he turned it down.
Yeah. He was like, fuck that.
You heard that story,
right?
Oh,
yeah, I was front row seat for it. But, you know, I really think that Tom Brady might not be done. He just said, I'm going to retire because... But it's just weird that he didn't go sign a one-day with New England because that's where it all started, and that's where he became Tom fucking Brady, dude. And
I just think it's funny that in 2 years, Tom has as many postseason wins that Aaron does.
In the NFC? Yeah. Crazy.
Okay.
So now let's shift to probably the biggest news of the week. Russell Wilson getting traded.
Huge.
For everything, basically. So
it wasn't pennies in a pack of bubble gum.
No, it was not. So you're looking at what the Seahawks gave up. They gave up Russell Wilson in a 4th-round pick. And a lot of people, especially in the Pittsburgh area, were like, why would you give that much up for Russell Wilson? Well, let me fill you in on a little something. Russell Wilson is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He really is. He has one record of Peyton Manning's in 10 years that he hasn't broke, and that was touchdowns. And you're throwing him on a team that has, if they can bring back Melvin Gordon, they have a phenomenal offense. Like, they gave up Noah Fant, which is kind of huge. But they also have another really good tight end that was right there with him. You have Cortland Sutton, who
his name, but I still can't remember it.
I think it's Jake Butt. I really do.
It's not.
It's somebody with a weird name. I know that. I
literally looked it up for this,
and you forgot,
recording, and still forgot it.
Yeah. So you're looking at an offense where he's got Jerry Jeudy, he's a fantastic route runner. And you have
he's young.
And he's very young. And you have Cortland Sutton, who's your kind of bigger wide receiver, got some speed, pretty good hands. You have, what's his name? Javonte Williams? And if you can bring back Melvin Gordon, who's vocally expressed he wanted to come back to Detroit. Or not Detroit, Denver. My bad.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go to Detroit, I promise.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody does, really.
Javonte, yeah.
Javonte Williams.
No, nobody does.
And if you can get Melvin back, that kind of serves as a teaching role for him. And you're going with, in my eyes, a top 10 quarterback in the league. And if Denver has a good O-line and keeps Russ upright, they're scary. They are scary in the AFC. Like, that AFC West division is fucking terrifying. It's kind of like the NFC West right now. Or with this past year, with how many things happened last offseason. But
I mean, the NFC West had three playoff teams.
Exactly. And so now you're looking at a newly revamped Broncos team. They've got a pretty solid defense with Surtain kind of leading the force now. With them making that trade, I think it opens the door again for Von Miller to come back and be that kind of staple and force that he's always been. And you gave up, you gave up a lot.
Giving up Lock was nothing.
No.
That was a pack of bubble gum.
He was, but you gave up Noah Fant. You gave up Shelby Harris.
The draft picks.
Shelby Harris.
And Noah Fant.
You got... You gave up 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, and I believe a 5th round pick to Seattle.
Seattle got a great package back. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just a pack of bubble gum. And a deck of cards.
Exactly. So you're looking at Seattle's side now, and they've now have pick 9 in the draft.
Which is huge, because now you can just go out and get a brand new quarterback.
Exactly. I
don't think it's the right move, but you can if you want to.
My personal opinion would have been something with the Eagles of some sort, because the Eagles don't want Jalen Hurts as their quarterback for some ungodly reason.
It's always Jalen Hurts' season. I don't know what's wrong with him. There's nothing.
He's been phenomenal in the time that he's played. Like, you put years, right? Like, how many years he's been their quarterback?
2.
Yeah. So you go the first.
Really, last year.
You put. I know you don't think this guy's a quarterback, but you compare.
Running back.
Yeah, you compare Jalen Hurts to Lamar, and Jalen Hurts almost has him beat except for rushing yards.
The only thing the Eagles need for that offense to be good is a line and receivers who can catch the ball. There were so many drop passes.
But
that's what killed them.
That's the thing with Russ, is he puts it in people's hands. He really does.
Yeah.
He's got such a good touch on the ball that Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are going to have one of the best 2 receiver seasons if Russ can stay upright.
Nobody will beat Stafford and Cooper.
Well, no, because Cooper Kupp is amazing. Shout out to, my hometown. If y'all didn't know, Cooper Kupp went to my hometown. It's pretty cool. But side note, a little side note, but I think that Denver's in a great spot this year.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I think the Seahawks are going to clean house. It's the only logical thing that you can really do after giving up A, Russell Wilson, and B,
Wagner.
Releasing Bobby Wagner, who still has a lot left.
Yeah.
And that the Bobby Wagner thing shook me more than Russ, because Bobby has been such a, because you look at the last 10 years, who have been the best 2 linebackers in the league? Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
And when Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner were going at it, it was fucking close. It was so close. It was scary close how dominant those 2 were. And nobody wanted to run the ball up the middle because you don't want to run to a fucking brick wall.
No.
So
I think my only real question with the way they did that was, why not just trade him? Why just cut him? You could have gotten something back for him.
You really could have.
Even if it was just a couple of mid-round draft picks, 2nd, 3rd round, just get a couple picks for him. Why not?
I mean, shit.
I feel like that was a waste of.
Look at what we gave the Texans for, Dwayne Brown. Look at what they gave the Texans for Jadeveon.
If you were really gonna, clean house, you might as well get your draft stock up.
Right.
And just get a couple picks and maybe some money compensation back. Cover it instead of a player. You didn't have to get players back.
Yeah, and so what I really think, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it too, but I think you ship out DK. He's not gonna want to play for you guys anymore after you just trade his quarterback away. He kind of had a prima donna year where he was frustrated. Apparently,
tell you why.
He had a foot injury.
I'll also explain that one.
Yeah, so he had a foot injury. I also think the Seahawks punished him because 3 games in a row he almost got into a fight, and so the Seahawks were like, "We're not gonna throw you the ball."
All of it is explained by one single explanation. He was on my fantasy team, and my luck.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, I did. That is my whole explanation. I had him on my fantasy.
I think DK is an amazing player. I really do, but in Seattle's offense now, especially I was so dumbfounded and excited when we drafted him, because it's there's your guy. That's your guy. But, Seattle, they want to stick with that run-heavy offense. And they want to run, and then play action, and it's predictable. The league really kind of figured it out. They stopped our run. They stopped our play action. It was a lot of 4 and outs or 3 and outs. And as of right now, you get rid of DK, you're going to get like a first and a third for him and maybe like a lower player. From somebody who needs a wideout.
The Lions.
And earlier this week there were reports that Tyler Lockett is now on the trading block, and you can get a first round pick, I think, out of Tyler Lockett. He's one of those very mechanical guys who you throw him the ball, he's gonna do everything.
Give him to Green Bay, then I might actually take them seriously.
Exactly. That's that. Like, I'm gonna shout out to another podcast if y'all are ever interested, to Kicking It with Coach Red. It is a Seattle-based podcast about Seattle teams. My brother runs it. Some of these are his takes, some of these are not. But I don't want to copy and paste what he said because that's not fucking cool. But Green Bay would make sense for him. That is what my brother had said. You get pick 28 for him. But also,
I would actually take them seriously.
You got a guy in Tyler Lockett who's going to give you 1,500 or more yards a year, especially because he is annoying. And the like. You look back like a couple years ago, that throw that Russ threw to the corner of the end zone, and nobody should have had any business catching this ball. But here's Tyler Lockett, full extension, toes down, caught the ball.
Is that the one they made the Amazon commercial for?
They did.
Yeah.
But Tyler Lockett learned from the best about footwork from Doug Baldwin. Mm-hmm. And he's worthy of a first-round pick. You clean house on these guys, and you get 3 or 4 first-round picks this year. And guess what? You go look at O-line. You go get these young, ready to play right now. And you get first-round picks. Like this.
See, you know what's crazy? Need. You know what's crazy? Say they do trade him to Green Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then come draft night, they take that 28th you said? Pick?
Yes.
They take that and swap with someone else and move even further up.
Yeah.
Maybe someone at like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
Who's willing to, swap back.
Right.
And then you got even closer up.
Exactly. Like, they need to go focus on 2 guys on the O-line because, I mean, Dwayne Brown, I don't think he's coming back. He's 36. You don't have Russ on the team anymore, so why would you want to come back?
Yeah.
You go take a left tackle, you go take a center, or somebody else like a right guard or something, because you need to keep your quarterback upright. And that's the one thing the Seahawks couldn't do with Russell Wilson, was like, that's literally the only thing that he ever said. Well, there's 2 things. He said, give me more stars and give me an O-line. And they couldn't, they got him some stars. They just couldn't get him an O-line. And that's what ultimately led to him waiving his no trade clause to getting out of Seattle. And
yeah.
It hurts. It really does. But I can also see the sun on the coming over the hill, and it's maybe the fresh start that the Seahawks needed. My personal opinion, I think Pete and John Snyder need to go. They don't, in years past, you look at how they've kind of treated our stars. The only person I feel like that doesn't have any bad blood with us is Cam Chancellor, because he got a season or a career-ending injury on the field.
Yeah.
And
out of the Legion of Boom, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
Sherman left on bad terms.
They rubbed Richard Sherman the wrong way, because I think they drafted Shaquille Griffin, and Shaquille had a really good rookie year while Sherman was hurt, and apparently Sherman, I don't know all the analytics behind it, but I think it was like, oh, this guy's gonna be better than me, blah blah blah, and he got on his high horse. I mean, what have you done since you left Seattle? You've been really hurt. You had one really good year with San Fran, the year you went to the Super Bowl and lost. And then he went to Tampa and got hurt again. And then Earl decided he wanted to have a threesome with his brother and be like, yeah, we're fucking crazy. And you know, Earl had a very phenomenal start with Baltimore, and then he went off the fucking crazy train. And another side note is that when we played Dallas, after the game, he ran to the Cowboys locker room and said, "Come get me." He really did. He ran over to their locker room and was like, "Come get me." And the year he ended things with us, I think broke his leg or something like that. It was something to do with his leg, and he flipped off the Seahawks sideline. Like, if you're the owner of the team, you kind of look at your coach and your GM being like, why are all these players hating us? Like, and there's reports that they didn't even tell Bobby that he was released, that him and his agent found out online.
I think they need a culture change.
They do. And
what the Lions have been needing for about
defense wins championships. I get it, but we really got to focus on that offense because, like, it's tough. You have to score, and you can't wait till the fourth quarter anymore. You don't have Russell Wilson, and so that was kind of like the whole thing. And my thing is, if you're gonna start fresh, you're getting rid of all these players. Start fresh. Get a new coach. Get a new GM. Like, we got to do something, and we'll see how Seattle really capitalizes on these draft picks. And I really hope that they decide to finally draft an O-line.
Yeah.
So
they need somebody.
And now we're gonna stay in the AFC West. Chicago, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they traded Khalil Mack for fucking pennies.
Peanuts and a pack of gum.
Yeah. And now you have a crazy, scary Chargers
you know
front.
What's really scary about Khalil Mack going there is, unlike Von Miller, who was traded to the Rams mid-season and had to, learn their scheme pretty quickly. Khalil Mack gets a whole offseason to learn the Chargers scheme.
Exactly.
Go with Joey Bosa. Oh, it's gonna be incredible.
Exactly. It's gonna be scary.
And
Russ, you might have to run for your life again, but
Derwin's gonna be healthy.
The AFC West is tough. I mean, you look at all the teams out there; they've got great defensive lines, and
it's gonna be a bloodbath every single divisional game because you have Justin Herbert, who just came off a 5,000-yard season. You have Patrick Mahomes, who's been to the last 4 AFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowls, and then you have Oakland, who,
I mean,
they had a lot of unfortunate events last season.
And personally, I think that Derek Carr is a decent quarterback.
The fact they still made the playoffs is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
For what the adversity that team had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't show you how much heart they have,
especially with all this, like, they were thumbing.
They looked good week 1 through 4
until
the Gruden stuff came out.
The Gruden thing came out. Henry
and then
Ruggs.
A couple weeks later, it seemed like they finally got over Gruden's absence. Change of head coach.
And then your star wide receiver goes out and kills somebody, gets a DUI, and I figured it would have thrown a wrench in their whole system, and
they still managed to make the playoffs.
They did.
Josh Jacobs, fantastic running back. I think Derek Carr is not as bad as everyone thinks he is. He's not great, but he's not horrible. Like, he's better than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Which isn't hard to do unless you're Jared Goff. I just think the Raiders are an underdog team, and I think they like being the underdog because they just seem to play better.
Right.
Like, they almost went into Cincinnati and beat them.
Yeah.
First round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati ended up going on and go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But so I think we talked enough about the big things. I mean, Chargers gonna be scary. Khalil Mack, that's a fact. Khalil Mack, I think, still,
it's good.
I mean, let's be honest. Khalil Mack had the Aaron Donald treatment for a long time. He did have the Aaron Donald treatment, and he was hands down the best dude in the league on defense. And now you're pairing him up with a animal in Joey Bosa. And they still have Melvin, right, at their linebacker spot, or is he gone?
Yeah, I believe he's still there.
Like, you're looking at a very scary Chargers defense, especially if you can keep your safety healthy and on the field. If Derwin James can stay on the field, he's a ball hawk, and he hits like a fucking semi-truck. It's crazy. And plus, you have your weapons on offense. And that AFC West division is going to be, like you said, a bloodbath. So, but on that note, let's kind of like reel it back. Let's go through franchise tags real quick, because there's only been a handful.
Yeah, because it started a couple days ago.
Yeah, so you have the Browns, and the Browns getting Amari Cooper today. Baker better come out and ball. He better come out and ball.
He complained about targets, and he went to an organization where Odell just left because he wasn't getting targets.
Exactly.
Yeah, I laughed out loud in a house by myself. That's how funny I thought that was.
You franchise tag David Njoku, who has been a very hit and miss tight end. You got Amari Cooper, but you're allowing Jarvis to go seek a trade. Doesn't make any sense to me, but you also still have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in your backfield, and that's terrifying.
That's a nasty two-headed combo.
And you have Denzel Ward on your defensive side, and Myles Garrett. I think the Browns are going to be fine. Personally, I like Baker Mayfield. I think a lot of people just give him the flack. I know you don't like him. We've had many conversations about it.
I just think he's overrated.
He is, but I just liked his energy at Oklahoma, and he was...
Who was drafted after him?
I don't know. I don't think there's a big quarterback class. I think Lamar was in that class.
Stop it. Lamar's a running back.
I understand that, but you know what I mean. So we're going to go look at the Cincinnati Bengals next, and them franchising Jesse Bates is huge. Is fucking huge. No, they could have got Josh Allen. You're right.
Yeah, sure could have.
But the Bengals,
ouchie,
franchise tagging Jesse Bates is big. Jesse Bates had a phenomenal year, and he's gonna add to their defense, and hopefully the Bengals can run it back, because I think Joey Burr is such a phenomenal quarterback.
Love Joe Burrow.
Oh, Joe Burrow, and especially you know what? He's probably happy tore his ACL his rookie year because he got his best friend. He got his best friend, Jamar Chase, who has just taken the league by storm. So you're looking at a good, really good Cincinnati Bengals. And don't
discredit Tyler Boyd or God, what's the other guy's name?
It's T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
And,
don't discredit that they're still decent.
They also have Uzma, I think his name is.
That's the tight end, yeah.
Their tight end, who's a stud as well. Cleveland Browns with David Njoku. The Cowboys, shockingly, I'm surprised that they franchise tagged Dalton Schultz.
But I felt bad for him.
Dalton Schultz had a phenomenal year.
They just didn't want to pay him.
I had him on fantasy. He did really good for me this year. So, I mean, in all honesty, though, you give Dak, he's got CeeDee Lamb. He's got Dalton Schultz. I mean, Zeke's kind of on a downhill slope, but Tony Pollard.
I can explain that one from 20 as well.
I think everybody can explain it, but...
No, he's on my fantasy team that year.
But Tony Pollard kind of climbing that running back chart.
They misused Tony Pollard the whole year. The 2 games where they dominated is when they incorporated Tony Pollard so well into the offense. Every game they lost, they didn't use him.
Right.
He is great out of the backfield catching passes.
Right. He is. He's
and
really
they never
great.
threw it to him. They didn't even have him on the field.
It's insane how Dallas just does not really care. They're They are in a bloodbath division where everybody fucking hates each other.
Well, I think what's even crazier is like, they don't try or care. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem they want to care. Yet Jerry will go on the microphone and say, we're gonna try and win.
Exactly, every year. It's every year. And then you're looking at Green Bay franchising Devonta Adams. That hurts for him.
That handcuffed him. Because especially if Aaron did retire. Oh man.
I don't think they were gonna do it because they did it after Rodgers says he was back.
They couldn't do it until the 8th.
Yeah, so Rodgers said
franchise tag.
Rodgers said he was back. They're like, you know what? We're gonna handcuff him for one more year, and they're probably gonna let him walk next year because they don't trust Jordan Love to take the reins from Aaron Rodgers. They're probably gonna go out next year, draft themselves a quarterback who can come in and kind of fill some shoes. Because like I said, I don't think Aaron has many years left. No, I really don't. And now we're gonna look at the Jaguars franchising Cam Robinson, which is huge for their O-line. Trevor Lawrence really had an underwhelming year. He had an underwhelming year, and it was unfortunate because I think Trevor Lawrence is good. It's just he's on a really shitty team. He's on a really bad team.
Too many games in college and high school.
Oh yeah. But
he lost 2?
I mean, you're also looking at a bad Jaguars team who had a bad coach. Urban Meyer was like,
what, you don't like the club in Columbus?
He's fucking kicking Josh Lambo in warm-ups, saying, "Fucking, you need to make those kicks."
Like, I would have kicked him in the teeth.
Oh, I would have too.
Strong, if I was an NFL kicker, you know how strong my legs would be? All I have to do is a simple kick to the teeth, and it's probably like a UFC fighter.
Exactly. Not to mention, it was James Robinson, I believe?
Yeah.
Dude, undrafted the year before, came out and single-handedly carried a very sorry Jags team, and he had over 1,000 yards, on the ground.
Marvin Jones on the team, too.
Yeah, and so...
Like, he left the Lions to go there.
Exactly.
And everyone, at least here, was just stunned because the Jags are just as bad as the Lions.
Exactly. And so you hired Urban Meyer thinking it was going to turn the franchise around. You got your franchise quarterback in.
I thought he was a good hire.
I thought he was too until he started wilding out. And like, let's be honest, Urban Meyer's done. Urban Meyer's not going to get a college job. He's not going to get another NFL job. He's done.
I just think it's crazy. Like, what NFL coach doesn't take the plane ride back? I don't care where you're from, and I don't care if you play in the city you're from. Like,
I don't know.
Why didn't you take the flight back?
Because he wanted to go grind up on some lady in the bar.
Well, I mean,
why his kids and wife are at home in Jacksonville.
Ouchie.
Yeah. So he decides to go party it up in fucking Columbus and.
Columbus is nowhere near Cincinnati. I just want that on the record.
Yeah, he fucking went a long way to go see. He went a long way to go see family. So
I don't have them come to Cincinnati.
I mean, and then you have Trevor Lawrence is going to be your franchise quarterback. If you can get a line around him, they're going to be decent. You have ETN.
I don't think so.
ETN is running mate.
ETN getting hurt in the preseason was.
But it also comes to the fact that you had a very reliable back in Robinson behind him. And Urban Meyer, for some reason, just didn't want him to play. Just didn't want him.
It's unfortunate that Etienne got hurt in the preseason. Because, like, at least when Joe Burrow tore his ACL, he played, 6-7 games, right?
Yeah.
So he understood for that time in the regular season what an NFL schedule looks like. What the NFL week looks like for those 7 games. So when he came out for year 2, he knew exactly what to do. He knew how it was going to go. ETN didn't get that opportunity to at least get a regular season game in and with a regular week because he was hurt in the preseason. But I think with Trevor Lawrence being his quarterback, since they played together in Clemson, I think he'll have an easier time adapting because it's a similar face. Right. This new place.
I agree.
So... But it's so unfortunate. Like I was excited for him to get a chance at the NFL because he played really well at Clemson.
Yeah,
he did. Him and Lawrence were great.
Breaking news. Sorry. The White Sox just inked Joe Kelly, pending physical. Sorry. But yeah, I think Etienne will adapt to an NFL running, like an NFL team pretty well. I think he'll be fine. And if, like I said, if you can keep Trevor Lawrence upright,
yeah,
I think they have a good shot. I mean, you just got to get a defense, you got to get a line around him, and then franchising, Cam Robinson is big, and you got to go out and pay him next year. You really have to.
Yeah.
So then you're looking at the Chiefs. They franchise tagged Orlando Brown. And I'm pretty sure he's their O-line guy, one of their O-lines. And anything you can do to kind of keep Mahomes to get the ball to Tyreek or Kelsey, that's what you got to do. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're fantastic. He is fantastic. They just – I don't know what they're missing. I think it's probably a defensive back is what the Chiefs are missing to kind of be great. Tyrann Mathieu a free agent right now, and I don't see them bringing him back.
Their defense was so inconsistent last year. That's what killed them, and that was their downfall when blowing an 18-point lead.
Yeah, Joey Burr, baby, Joey Burr.
Was sleeping during the game, so I didn't actually watch it.
I did. So I turned it off.
I fell asleep. It was 21-3, and I woke up and
I turned it off for a bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn it on again because it's after halftime, whatever. And then I just see Joey Burr fucking Kansas City. I'm gonna single-handedly put my foot on your throat and take my team to the Super Bowl, and that's what he did. And their defense couldn't handle him, while Cincinnati completely shut down Kansas City. They really did. They held them to a field goal to send it to overtime, and the Bengals walked it off. It was insane. And, it's just the AFC is such a dominant force now, and I really want to see Cincinnati make it back to the Super Bowl and win next year, because I really think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I really think that they are the craziest quarterback wide receiver duo in the NFL.
Electric.
They are, and he hits them with that giddy every time he scores a touchdown, and when you have a good giddy, you are phenomenal. Let's be honest. So let's look at the Miami Dolphins. I'm recording still.
I asked if you were done.
No, I said I'm recording. Sorry. But they got Mike Gesicki back. Pretty good.
That's good for them.
It's good.
He did well for me when I needed him to.
Sorry, I didn't read it. Gesicki's been good. They've talked about going and getting pieces for Tua. They really need to. I don't know why they fired Flores. Doesn't make sense. He was a great coach for them, and I don't really think they think Tua's their guy, but he's their guy right now.
Sure is.
And I mean, they're pretty decent offensively and defensively. They just got to get over that 500 level to kind of take it to that next spot. They're in a tough division in the AFC East with the Bills being the forefront, and
it's the tough division because the Bills are just going to run with it.
Yeah, and
you have to get a wild card.
The surgence of Mac Jones last year and how he kind of, I mean, he didn't really do much, but he did enough. Their the Pats defense was great, as it always is.
And they, the Bills didn't punt.
Yeah, but they're in a tough division. I mean, it's those three, because the Jets are non-existent right now. And then you have New England. They did not use their franchise tag on J.C. Jackson, which is just, I don't know. It's very tough because J.C. Jackson has had 15 picks in the last 2 years. He's really been a shutdown corner for him. He hasn't really given up much, and they didn't think that he was good enough to bring back, and that's going to hurt your defense because I really don't know who else they really have that's going to shut down for him like that. And then you're looking at Tampa franchising Chris Godwin kind of hurts him because you're going into a year where you don't know who your quarterback is. And
it is, oh God, Kyle Trask.
Yeah,
right?
I think it is Trask.
Yeah.
But with the quarterbacks that are on the market right now, I think making a reunion with a new and improved Jameis Winston is on the table.
I think Jameis will stay in New Orleans if they're willing to bring him back.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Horrible.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not going to be like his 30 for 30 season. But
No.
he got LASIK, which helped, and it showed before he got injured last year. Is he was throwing dimes, throwing touchdowns, wasn't really throwing as many picks as he's normally doing. But you bring him on to a already star-studded Tampa Bay team, because the year after you left, they were great. You got Tom Brady, you brought in Gronk, but then you got Leonard Fournette, who kind of resurgenced his career. And so you're looking at a Tampa Bay team that needs a quarterback to get him to that dream again. And plus you have OJ Howard sitting on the, your tight end now that Gronk's gone. But
right.
They need a quarterback to be good.
Oh, actually, what I just thought of, I forgot Sean Payton retired.
Oh, that's right, he did. Man,
that's huge.
I forget all of this stuff.
I did.
I'm glad you remembered.
That Saints team might not actually be as enticing now because I would go play for Sean Payton, but maybe you do go back to Tampa.
Yeah,
they want.
Yeah,
and he did well before he got hurt.
Exactly.
And he showed that he had the potential that when they drafted him over Mariota all those years ago.
I still think it was the right choice because Mariota really hasn't panned out, and every time
I have a biased opinion on that.
I know you're an Oregon fan. I mean I don't mind Oregon either, but Mariota was great in college. He got drafted by the Titans, didn't do phenomenal like everybody thought he would. He got hurt a lot because they made him run the ball.
They didn't have an O-line.
Exactly. They made him run. And that's the one thing with Tampa is like, yeah, Jameis Winston went 30, touchdowns and 30 picks, but he was still throwing touchdowns. And I mean, Marcus Mariota wasn't. And I just think, like I said, the Bucs are a quarterback away now that they don't have Tom Brady in their wing anymore. And the crazy thing is with Brady retiring, coming off of what should have been an MVP season, like, you got big shoes to fill now. So it is insane. Big news, though. Big news this week from both baseball.
I just want to throw it out there. The Phillies are incredibly interested in Castellanos.
I mean, if they're incredibly interested, they're not getting Chris Bryant.
No, but that would also make sense because Dombrowski was the person who drafted Castellanos in Detroit.
So, I mean, we'll see. We still have a lot to go in free agency in both football and baseball. I mean, I don't think we're going to really touch on basketball this week because I don't think you've paid attention. I don't think I've paid attention.
I've lost money on basketball. Actually, I won money last night on the Pistons.
Well,
barely. I squeaked that one through. It was plus 14. They lost by 11.
Well, that's good, but I think we covered the gist.
Baseball being back was the main topic.
Yeah, baseball being back, and plus we kind of topped out on what happened. Free agency is about to kick off for the most part for the NFL, coming in the next couple weeks.
It'll be on Monday.
Yeah. Monday. So we'll come back with you guys at some point probably next week, we'll probably sit down, we'll talk, we'll see what other ideas we can have later tonight, and then we'll go from there with the coming weeks. I mean, we'll see what happens with with baseball being back and NFL free agency kicking off, because there's going to be a lot of big names
should be off the market by the Wednesday when we record the next one.
I believe so. But anyway, guys, it was fun. We want to thank y'all for listening. Again, I'm Kane. You can find me at Twitter at Killing Kane, at Twitch with Killing Kane, and YouTube at Killing Kane.
And I'm Day with my Twitter's Real Day Gaming 1. My Twitch is Real Day Gaming. And YouTube is as well.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, until next time, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys. But that is going to wrap it up for us here today. But yeah, we'll hit you guys with the next episode here next week. So